What's up, everyone? All right, so in this episode, I'm going to share with you an unpopular opinion that I have. And, this is something I've been ridiculed for over the years, but I have stayed firm on this opinion, and it's that I don't trust cryptocurrencies. I never have, and I don't know that I ever will. With the collapse of FTX, that only reaffirmed my gut intuition on trading crypto, that I don't trust it, it doesn't feel good, and I don't like it. And I think for me, being someone that has been in the market for a long time, it goes all the way back to 2011, 12, 13, 2013, when, Silk Road, right? So for those that aren't familiar with the Silk Road, it was this underground, dark web, black market for trading illicit goods, drugs for sure, and a lot of other things. And what was the currency used for buying and selling these goods? Cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin. And so for me, from the very beginning, Bitcoin to me was associated with these, unsavory and illegal and just in some cases really awful things that were going on. And so for that reason, from the very, very beginning, I couldn't detach the two in my association. And so over the years, no doubt, like many YouTubers, and I don't like to call myself a YouTuber, but of course we have over 1 million subscribers. And so like many people who have a lot of subscribers, I've had tons of messages. Hey, this cryptocurrency, this, platform, promote it. And for all of that, I have just ignored, don't care, not interested, go look somewhere else. Could I have made money promoting some of these cryptocurrencies or exchanges over the years? Sure, but I didn't want to, and I didn't feel good about it. Could I have made money trading some of these cryptocurrencies over the years? Yeah, certainly, because some of them went up a lot, and yet I didn't do it because I never felt comfortable. I never felt safe. I never felt really like I could trust my money with a lot of these exchanges. That for me was sort of the ultimate root. Of course it was the association with things that are unsavory, but it was also this feeling that I couldn't trust the exchanges completely. So one of the things I trade stock, right? So I've been doing that for a long time. I got introduced to the stock market in 1998, 1999, 1997, somewhere around there. It was during the dot-com bubble. And it was an exciting time. It was a school project. And so anyways, that was my first introduction. I set up my first account in 2001 or 2. And so for me, trading is something that I've always been interested in, which could have made me very inclined to take a stab at crypto. But one of the things that I didn't trust was the way pricing is different on different exchanges, and just this feeling of, is my money that's in an exchange actually safe? And we've seen some of the footnotes of some of these companies that have speculated that if they went bankrupt, your assets might not be protected, which is really scary. Now I'm not an expert on all the different exchanges out there and the different firms, because some might be better than others, but I was left feeling like I just couldn't trust it. And so this is one of the things where I don't ever like to take a trade or a position where the equity that I put in its entirety is at risk. That doesn't work for me. I use my cash in my account, that equity, as a tool. So for instance, if I bought a house for $200,000 and I put $50,000 into fixing it up, and then I sold it for $300,000, I would get back the $200,000 and the $250,000 that I put in. That money was a tool. I wouldn't ever want to be risking that, because that's what allows me to keep trading. And so that's why I didn't trade Silicon Valley Bank, because I said, no, if I buy that stock, it could get halted and resume at zero. And it resumed at 40 cents, but that's close enough to zero because it was trading $40 a share. So if I'd had $10,000 in that trade, 10,000 shares in that trade, that would have been about $400,000. It would have resumed at a value of $4,000. So a loss of $396,000. That is not tolerable. That's not something that I would have ever felt comfortable with. And so with cryptocurrencies, I've had students over the years who have said, Ross, I'm trading crypto and it's, I can trade the same patterns that you're trading, bull flags, flat top breakouts. There's so much opportunity there. You could make so much money. And I just continued to say, no, I just don't feel like I'm comfortable. I don't feel like I can trust it. And it has been an unpopular opinion that I've had. And sometimes I wonder if I just am biased. It's just a bias and I need to sort of check those biases, because there are times where you can form a bias on something and it's not healthy. And so, there's different ways that you can sort of check that bias. For me, on the other hand, I also feel like it's important to trust your gut and your intuition. And so that creates a real challenge, because gut and intuition can become a bias. And it could be, it could be an unhealthy bias, and it could keep you out of opportunities, whatever those might be. And in my case, I think that obviously what we ended up seeing with FTX and some of these other, just the collapse in the crypto markets, the NFTs and everything else, it just sort of reaffirms that it was a very speculative market, where values weren't really based on anything. Now, you could say that it's true with stock, that the value of a stock in its share price can be very disconnected from the book value of the company. That happens all the time. It certainly happened with Tesla. It's happened with Amazon. It's happened with a lot of these companies that trade at really high PE ratios. They trade at those ratios because of their perceived future value. So they trade at a price today that's a very high multiple of maybe the current book value or current earnings, because of what people think that the company is going to do in the future. So, in the case of cryptocurrencies, sort of similar, trading on the speculation of what it could be worth down the road. But to me, one of the whole ideas of a currency is that it's stable, right? And so a currency that's not stable, I don't know how you could possibly trust that as the basis of any economy. You need a stable currency. And you could certainly argue that inflation right now is, destabilized the US dollar to a certain extent. But all of that is still a fraction of the instability that we've seen in the crypto markets. So, I'm not a, I get this. If crypto has worked for you and you like it, do what works for you. But, it's just been my strong opinion that I have never been able to trust it. And I don't see how that could change, especially after what we've seen in the last, 6 months with the collapse of these NFT prices, cryptocurrencies, different coins, and then, of course, the collapse of FTX. It sort of feels like, especially when we found out how much FTX was sort of putting, taking customer money and then putting it back into the exchange and into these currencies, like just inflating their value. And then, people are like, where'd all that money go? And it's like, well, if you bought $1 billion of Silicon Valley Bank at $40 a share, the money's gone because the bank is worth nothing now. So it just gone. It just disappears. And it is a little bit hard to get your head around that. How that money can just really kind of disappear. And it obviously is transferred. Of course, every buyer, there's a seller and this and that. So if you bought $1 billion, then someone would have sold $1 billion. So, they have some, but it's just the way the market is. And so the long and short of it is that I continue to be a trader of stock. And I'm not going to say that we're having a great year trading stock. I mean, last year was definitely better. We had the spike in oil, which created a lot of opportunities in the oil industry. This year, we've just had this huge drop in regional banks, which has created a lot of fear and a lot of panic. So we're in a slow market, but certainly not to the point where I would ever at this point consider going and trading crypto or something else. I just can't get my head around feeling good about it. So, I saw it get really, really hyped up. I sort of was like, oh, maybe I'm just going to be like a really late adopter to this thing. But You know, I just could never get my head around it. And that's where I'm at now. So maybe some of you share this unpopular opinion with me. I mean, I know I'm not alone in this, but in this space that we're in, it seems that so many people have been just super exuberant on crypto in the last 3, 4, 5 years. And I have felt like a bit of a, you know, an outsider to that circle. So anyways, if you're also an outsider, now you know you're not alone. So anyways, I just thought I'd come on here and share that unpopular opinion with you. And hope you enjoyed this episode and hope you tune in for another one real soon.